elected, they'll do an investigation. And we've seen the Twitter files. As Elon Musk said, he didn't buy a social media company, he bought a crime scene. And when he revealed...
Elon is very much experimenting as he goes.
I mean, I do think like one argument for me staying alive is that it's more entertaining if I'm alive than if I'm dead.
Oh, yeah.
Musk now announcing he's forming a new political party called the America Party. In response, Trump called the Tesla CEO a, quote, train wreck.
Tonight, on the heels of President Trump signing his massive domestic policy bill into law, his former close ally, Elon Musk, announcing the formation of a new political party. Musk, the world's richest person, taking to his social media site X to say, "We live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom."
The frustration part of the performance is the best asset, biggest asset for Tesla is Musk. Musk is Tesla, Tesla is Musk. And they have never needed him more than today, given the autonomous, given the AI future. But then also goes to that third point, the political gamble, whether it's the third party, America's party. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation for investors from a Tesla perspective. And I think you need...
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Really? Thousands of children got them. Where are the like? Why aren't they in jail? What? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff. Like, very dangerous.
Well,
I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you would act.
Welcome back to West Virginia Wire. Today's episode is called Sheriff or Muskrat. And trust us, it's not just about social media. What happens when the richest man on earth buys what he himself calls a crime scene? Elon Musk didn't just acquire Twitter, he took over a battlefield of censorship, cover-ups, and potential government collusion. So here's the question. Is Elon cleaning up the mess? Or is he just another sheriff in town pointing fingers while hiding evidence?
Because if Twitter was truly a leftist echo chamber, where's the Epstein info? Where's the real transparency on government influence and shadow bans? And if Elon is building a new political party, is it for freedom or just more brand domination?
What we're digging into today, Musk's, quote, crime scene confession. What did he really mean? His past statements on censorship versus what he's doing now. Theories about what's missing from the files, Epstein, Fauci, election interference. Is his new party a rebellion or a distraction? Go.
Here's a question to you. Is Elon Musk a savior of free speech, or is he just playing both sides? What is he still holding back, and why? Should we trust a billionaire to fix what a government broke?
Tap in, speak up, stay sharp. This rabbit hole goes way deeper than algorithms and blue checks. Drop your theories in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So you don't miss a single Wire Pulse from West Virginia Wire.
Let's get ready.
Yeah. So I guess my question would be basically is, hey, Mr. Musk, I know that a lot of the acquiring a crime scene, you're talking about the censorship and all of that. And it was just another extension of the government. But with all the lawfare that was levied at the independent party for people who were trying to run on an independent ticket, Mr. Musk, what makes you think that a new American party or whatever would be any different than what, say, Tulsi Gabbard went through, RFK Jr. went through? I mean, we have to stop this madness. When are we all going to come together? So my main thing was, if you acquired a crime scene and it was mainly left leaning and, a lot of those people were associated with Epstein or whatever, if you have any information regarding that, I think now would be an apropos time to release it. So that's what this video is going to be when I get it, finally laid down. And like I said, hair and makeup has the day off. So it's just me, and I am hair and makeup. So no, I didn't feel like doing it today. So I'm not going to show my face today. I'm just going to be behind the scenes. And there's a thunderstorm going on. So without further ado, let's jump into the first.
Did you ever wake up in the middle of the night and have a dream that you didn't do it? And your life is infinitely easier?
Well, it's certainly a recipe for trouble, I suppose, or contention.
What was it ultimately that led you to make the decision to do it?
I mean, this is going to sound somewhat melodramatic, but I was worried about that it was having a corrosive effect on civilization. That it was just having a bad impact. I think part of it is that it's where it was located, which is downtown San Francisco. And while I think San Francisco is a beautiful city and we should really fight hard.
Okay, so in this part of the interview with Joe Rogan, he goes on, he's the hero. He wants to save humanity. And, he made the same statement in the groundbreaking X platform interview he had with Donald J. Trump. And we actually went live with that one as well. You guys can find that on my YouTube channel and wherever it's still up. My whole point is, yes, we thank you for your assistance and we thank you for your help. Yeah, at what point, he talks about how it should be the people's choice, yet he propagates this fear of the earth being gone in 500 years. He's doing all of this for humanity. And again, I'll say it, we thank you. I still haven't unsubscribed. I still pay that $3 to $4 a month for the monthly subscription because I keep hoping and praying that this madness will stop. So let's continue on and hear what else he's saying.
The rest of both. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization. So you have to say, how could AI go wrong? Well, if AI gets programmed by the extinction.
Okay, so this would, I'm going to include this later on when I do another piece on AI. If you guys didn't catch AI Ascension and AI Attraction, AI Affair, whatever on my YouTube channel, go check it out. This AI thing is kind of crazy. And Elon Musk does say it's what we input, right? It's like a computer. So let's keep going.
Its utility function will be the extinction of humanity. So I mean, there are times when masks are warranted, but most of the time it's actually counterproductive.
Well, that was one of the things about the old Twitter was the propaganda. And
yeah.
All right, this is what we've been waiting for. I'm going to rewind it back just a little bit. This is where they get into the conversation of old Twitter, now the X platform, which this is really what the piece is going to be about, double-minded statements, actions. And I'll say it again, as far as the Epstein list goes, I remember when Trump was campaigning this last election, I didn't really hear too much about him running on the Epstein files, right? He did say he would release the JFK assassination stuff. There was some mention of the Epstein files. That's what Pam Bondi and all of them said that they were going to do, right? So at what point do we hold them accountable? Now, then when we voice our disdain and we're not seeing the results that we should be seeing, then yes, President Trump's first and foremost duty is to have the American people's back and deliver what was voted for. So far, I see that immigration is getting under control, 0 releases. As far as I know, there's no getaways. There are people coming back, but they're quickly reapprehended. And I'll say it again, this whole immigration thing is not good for people on both sides. And now if you've seen some content creators that have it out there where actually Mexico doesn't want Americans over there, they're upset about Americans being over there. And apparently it's a deal with the Mexican country. I don't know what's going on. All I know is we need to get back to our local level and see what we can do there and then work our way up.
So I mean, there are times when masks are warranted, but most of the time it's actually counterproductive.
Well, that was one of the things about the old Twitter was the propaganda and
yeah,
the adherence to whatever the CDC was saying, and the dismissing of legitimate scientists, guys like Jay Bhattacharya from Stanford.
So, and we all know that the same thing was happening on Facebook. So this could really play into the video that I did called Shadow Banned. It talked about the term shadow ban. What does it mean? Have you experienced it? There are different versions of shadow banning. But I think the most prevalent one is the one where social media platforms are actually setting the algorithms up to recognize certain words to limit the reach of a content creator's content. So I do believe that was happening, absolutely. And Zuckerberg admitted to it.
Shit, guys.
Yes.
And they were suppressing them and even banning them. They banned Alex Berenson. I mean, it was wild. They banned Alex for essentially reading peer-reviewed
And I don't know who
papers.
that guy is.
No, I mean, all Twitter was basically an arm of the government.
Yeah.
So
was that shocking? Like, what was that like? Is that
okay? So did you hear that? He said Twitter was basically an arm of the government.
essentially reading
Listen.
peer-reviewed papers?
yeah. No, I mean, all Twitter was basically an arm of the government.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are forming a new party, a third party called the American Party, Mr. Musk, then what is Twitter going to be then? And now with XAI, it's my understanding that is also your company, because we're going to watch the footage from the attorney that was Musk's attorney, and he addresses some things. You saw it in the intro. But anyway, so let's continue this on. But
So suddenly the far left are handed a megaphone to Earth, an incredibly powerful technology weapon that they themselves could not create.
So this is the part where he was stating that, the technology, because it has been reported that the government takes patents. I mean, let's look at Nikola Tesla and what happened with his research and the things that he discovered. And now some of it we can't even find. So, I mean, when does it get to a point to where who gets to decide what's safe for humanity, and then more organizations, NGOs, nonprofits keep compounding to dictate what's good for us in our daily lives? Organizations have been formed to come in and take children away from their parents. I mean, when does it all end? And when do we take care of each other as God always wanted us to do? He always wanted us to work together. That's it.
But they happen to be co-located with the technologists who created it by accident.
Is it shocking that more people don't understand how dangerous that is?
I think some people understand.
Some people do.
Some people understand. So, I mean, from the standpoint of some of the people who used to be at Twitter, the people are like, well, it's a big shift to the right. That is correct. It is a shift to the right because everything is to the right if you're far left. Everything is to the right.
He's not wrong.
But how many far left people have actually been suspended or banned from Twitter, now X?
I got
Zero.
suspended twice.
So it's really just moved to the center, but from.
And I'll tell you, the person that reported me and the reason I got suspended was calling me the C word. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It was lunacy. And I was a verified account and they weren't, right? And it took X platform forever to release my account. But I was like, you know what? Either they're going to release it or they're not. And every time that it happened to me on the TikTok platform, I mean, just saying a word, just one word, not even in the context that the algorithm is picking up the word. It's just the word. I mean, cancel culture, forget about cancel culture. What's going on here? Replacement culture? I'm not sure.
The perspective of the far left, it's moved to the right. It's like everything's relative.
The difference in moderation.
Sorry, I should say, it propagated that far left philosophy, not just to America, but to everywhere on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the same level of suppression in other countries as well?
Yes.
But the Taliban is on Twitter.
Did you hear that?
Like, I always think of like, hey, Mr. Taliban, telling me a banana.
Right.
Really? Because I'm thinking I've got more of a shock factor that the Taliban is on Twitter and he laughs it off, Taliban. But really? Let's give him a fair shot, though.
Hey, Mr. Taliban.
I mean, there's definitely some people on Twitter that are
daylight coming. I want to go.
Y'all, I'm about to show my face on this one. I just don't even care at this point. I'm about to show my face.
Yeah.
You know what? Y'all forgive the way I look right now. I gotta watch this again.
Suppression in other countries as well.
Yes.
But the Taliban is on Twitter.
Here we go. What?
Right?
Like, I always think of like, hey, Mr. Taliban, tally me a banana.
What?
I am as ignorant as you.
Yeah. Sex trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein. If you go, for example, to the FBI vaults online, you can see that there are 22 files containing thousands of pages. Most of them are heavily redacted. Now, sure, of course, redact the names and identifying characteristics of the victims. But why not make the victim testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes that there's still more evidence that hasn't been published, including, quote, Epstein kept video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy, nor the report of the investigation.
So I'm going to say it over and over again. And a lot of the topic of contention was the fact that Trump kind of shut down the journalist. And I thought about, we could go back, but everybody's playing it and they're only playing the clip. If just that 30-second or 1 minute clip is all we don't have any context before it or after it. We do have the context. We just have to roll back the tape. So they were talking about the flood victims in Texas, people that are still missing. And Trump wasn't wrong when he said, this is something that's been going on for a long, long time, and was this the appropriate time to pose this question? I think maybe I wish he would have handed it straight off to Pam Bondi because, I understand having to have someone's back, but I hope he's chewing her out on the other end of it. So I've already worked this Tucker Carlson part in where he talks about
hearing that from Tucker.
Well, first of all, Tucker is being named. He decided
At this point in year, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Trump,
the president's biggest campaign donor, who was so close that Trump invited him to sleep.
All right, and here's the part where we're getting into Elon's third party. What a great idea.
The White House is now calling for him to be impeached and replaced by Vice President J.D. Vance. The man who was handed nearly unfettered access to the federal government is openly musing about forming his own political party. And the same guy, the billionaire backing the U.S. space program, he's now threatening to take his rockets and go home. What at this time yesterday was a one-sided attack on the president's signature spending bill is no longer just a policy disagreement, not even close. It has now become quite personal.
Which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time with the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning.
As Trump was speaking from the Oval Office,
you saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting.
And then later on, Trump was like saying he gave Elon the black eye. And we covered that too. So that's above my YouTube
He's
channel.
worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know.
So, and then, it kind of makes sense what he's saying. Because now Elon is talking about starting another party. I'm not sure. And I agree with a lot of other people that, I think it will further disintegrate the the Democratic Party more than anything, because we're not going to sway from what we value just because a party changes or a party changes its views. I still stand on my business, and I'm going to say if I agree with it or I don't agree with it, if it's logical or illogical.
I was going to do, and he just went crazy. Then came and Musk were kind of caught in the middle of all of this today. They were quietly and delicately trying to broker
Epstein files. That's when the conversation files. That's when White House people on the Hill. I mean, the divorce analogies are rampant right now. Look, it was the ferocity, how quickly this happened. And once he started going down the rabbit hole of the Epstein files, that's when the conversation with White House allies and people inside of the White House really changed. Just
telling them to censor people, which is a violation of First Amendment rights. And the crazy thing is, David, is when I complained to government that these companies were violating my rights, they said, no. It's a private company and you signed their community policy, so you have to abide by that. Little did I know, behind my back, they were telling those companies to violate those same constitutional rights. I mean, there's something very wrong about that.
Did you see what Musk tweeted? I'm sure you did. In response to this, he said, "Shut up, Dan." Now, the best part about this is the first thing you suggest here clears a path for a merger with Musk's other company, XAI. Obviously, then some guardrails, oversight on political endeavors. Just elaborate a little bit on why you think it's all necessary.
Look, I mean, this soap opera, I think, has taken on a life of its own. And I think that, the board's the only one that could step in to set guardrails. So our whole view is hearing from shareholders the last, 48 hours, patience is wearing thin. There's exhaustion. I think when you look at the three things, I mean, one, we talk about give them 25% voting control. And I think that's important because that would clear the path.
What does he have right now?
So if you look 14%, 15%, but 25% is very important because that would essentially get him to what I ultimately view as a merger with XAI. And I think that's something a lot of investors want to see.
Why is that so important that he could merge with XAI? It sounds like another distraction practically.
Sure, maybe at first glance, but I think the reality is that would create an AI stalwart. And I think the whole thing here from Musk is to have all of his AI ecosystem.
Okay, so sorry, I didn't kind of give context to this right here. So this is the part where the gentleman is discussing what this means for, what it could possibly mean for Tesla stockholders when Musk is talking stuff like this nonsense, I call it, because it will affect the company as a whole. It will affect the stockholders. So, I'm not sure what game is being played here. So we're going to finish listening to what this gentleman says, but he makes some very valid points. Not all the Tesla stockholders believe the same way. And for him to start a party and he's so much, I don't know. So they're talking about the percentage and I don't know what they're talking about. It's kind of crazy. So let's listen. I'll stop interrupting and stop running my mouth.
Under one hood.
To help Tesla merge with XAI. It sounds like another distraction practically.
Sure, maybe at first glance, but I think the reality is that would create an AI stalwart. And I think the whole thing here from Musk is to have all of his AI ecosystem under one hood.
To help Tesla specifically, or just in, because what I'm trying to understand is XAI important to Tesla having robo-taxi dominance, or would you just prefer that Tesla is the company that owns the AI ambitions of any kind that he's working on?
It's a great question. I think especially on robo-taxi and autonomous, XAI could be the game changer. If you robo-taxi and autonomous, XAI
that he's working on.
It's a great question. I think especially on robo-taxi and autonomous, XAI could be the game changer if you combine them. And it's also the view when you think about humanoids, you think of robotics, to have this all under one roof. But that does not happen unless he has 25% voting control. Remember, the $56 billion pay package, that's still in contention from Delaware. So this is the time for the board, rip the Band-Aid off. That's the first thing. However, but 2 and 3, we talk about. The second, you need to have some sort of guardrails, and oversight in terms of the time he's spending at Tesla, generally.
Well, and I saw people joking, what do you want him to do? Like punch in? How especially for somebody like Musk, how do you actually set guardrails? Is it enough to just...
How do you set those guardrails? How do you set those guardrails? The gentleman gave a very good answer, but in the sake of time, because I usually try to make my content, my videos, so they don't run over 20 to 30 minutes. So now we're going to run over to the next video. Wait, let's listen.
And they have never needed him more than today, given the autonomous, given the AI
This is
future.
good. This is good way
Tesla
he
is-
says, and I want to close this part of the interview because he's not wrong. You know, the stockholders in the company do need
This
Elon.
part of the frustration, part of the underperformance is the best asset, biggest asset for Tesla is Musk. Musk is Tesla, Tesla is Musk. And they have never needed him more than today, given the autonomous, given the AI future. But then also goes to that third point, the political gamble, whether it's the third party, America's party. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation for investors from a Tesla perspective. And I think you need some sort of oversight. He could do what he wants, of course, but some sort of oversight that if that ultimately conflicts with his responsibility as CEO,